Hello, this is Ashley from Seeking Divine Serendipity, and I am coming to you with this week's energy updates for January 15th to the 21st. So, our opportunity in this week is going to be going from a place of unsupported to a place of caring, and we do that through empowerment. So, what happens is oftentimes when we are feeling unsupported, we will look to others to fill the void within us. But we have to remember that if you think of it like a puzzle, we all have our own picture, and there's many pieces of that create that picture, right? And we're all born with the pieces that we need to complete our picture. But as children and, young adults and stuff through our life experiences, we've been taught that certain pieces of our picture aren't right or good or beneficial. And what we do is we take those pieces out of our puzzle and then we just shove them aside, our shadow pieces. And we look to others to fill those voids that we've created by taking their pieces. And sometimes we'll find people that have the right shape, but the picture doesn't match up. But we're able to just kind of settle with it, right? It's good enough. It fits. It works. Or we try really hard to make them work, even though they aren't really doing it. And, when we do that within relationships, when that relationship ends or changes, we feel a sense of loss and pain because other people were filling those needs, filling those voids within us, and we don't know how to fill it within ourselves. We're coming from a disempowered state. We are not in power of ourselves, right? So when we're in power of ourselves, what happens is we are able to look at those pieces and find them and put them back into place where they rightfully belong. And when we do this, it allows us to be fully empowered and honor our boundaries and step up for ourselves and speak up for ourselves and say no when we mean no instead of saying yes, or vice versa, saying yes when we actually want to say yes instead of doubting ourselves and saying no, I'll pass because we don't think we can handle it. So when we care for ourselves, we are filling our cup first. We're filling our needs and ensuring that we are whole versus seeking somebody else to fill those voids that we've created within ourselves. And when we do that, it opens up a world of opportunities for us and really allows us to come from a place of power and confidence and knowing who we are. But to do that, we have to really be brave and step into the darkness and look in the shadows to find those pieces that we cast aside. And we have to learn to love those and work through whatever it was that told us that those pieces weren't good enough, that those pieces were bad, or they needed to be pushed aside. They weren't right. And, that's not as easy as it sounds. I can say it, but really walking through that pain, walking through those situations and coming from a place of loving and understanding and kindness can be quite challenging. And that's, where I come in with all of my programs. But, I challenge you to really look at where it is that you're allowing other people to fill your own needs. Because when you're doing that, it is disempowering to you. And we're abdicating responsibility of ourselves and our choices in doing that. And it allows other people to have a lot of influence over our choices and our actions and what we experience. So coming out of that energy of vulnerability, moving into open-heartedness, which was the previous week, today's Friday, so we're still in that energy, right? But depending on when you're watching this. So if you were on my Facebook group and you jumped into that live, this will sound very familiar. If not, I'll talk about it again. But this current week that I'm filming in, right, we were really in this space of vulnerability, feeling raw, and it was a really unsafe, bared open to the world kind of energy. And our invitation was to move into a space of open-heartedness where we are safe and able to share with others without feeling that sense of unsafety, right? And to do that, we had to really like lean into being kind to ourselves. So when we take those pieces and we cast them aside, what happens is we feel very raw and vulnerable because of that void. We're exposing that gaping hole within ourselves to others. And when we lose the people that were filling it, it feels like you're bleeding from the inside, right? And it causes a lot of internal pain. Now, if you were to address that, one of the things that I would encourage you to do is look at when other people care for you, what is it that you love and appreciate about that and how they're doing it? Because you can model that behavior for yourself. If you've read my book, The Soul Ascension Code, I talk about in, I think, Circle 6, talking about really stepping into that self-mother and self-fathering role, right? So you're applying that and you're nurturing yourself and you're caring for yourself and you're like, it's fine, it is okay, it's going to be okay. And, you're really modeling those mature roles, not the immature roles, but those mature roles for yourself. I was heading somewhere with that. Right. Okay. So we have to really like come from this place of kindness and compassion for ourselves and give to ourselves first before we give to others. But the problem is we're taught to prioritize other people's needs and to give them our puzzle pieces and fill their voids. And what we're doing is we're just patching holes, and it's not the right piece. It's not the right material. So there's going to be continuous leaks in our energy, because the only way to truly heal it is by using our own gifts, our picture, our puzzle pieces, and coming from that place of wholeness, right, within our heart. So all of this kind of evolves and goes hand in hand, and as Mercury retrograde is moving forward and we're still in the winter time, it's really asking us to look at, where we're giving our power away. Where do we feel unsafe in sharing ourselves, and how can we, take our past experiences in a positive way and apply it to how we treat ourselves and interact with ourselves. So we have a lot of energy moving through for January, and Mercury retrograde doesn't end until the end of the month. So when we're in that space of feeling unsupported after coming out of that vulnerability, right? If you don't address it, then it's just going to kind of start to build and build. And if you've ever heard me talk or read any of my books, I talk about it a lot. Like, the energy in your experience will continuously build. We'll get very small little hints of what's to come, but we tend to brush it off and ignore it. And there's more energy and more energy that just keeps coming into it. Next thing you know, you're being body slammed by the universe. And then you're like, what happened? How did this happen? I don't get it. And you're frustrated and you're stuck in it. And, if you just slow down and you really ground yourself regularly throughout the day, and you're very present and tuned into why you are doing the things that you're doing, you're being very intentional with your actions, and you understand why you were doing the thing, even though it's been a habit and it's something that you do on autopilot and you've done it for years. Really start to question, why am I doing this? What am I trying to achieve? And then noticing when we feel negative emotions, using that to inform us, because our emotions are an inner compass. And those negative emotions are telling us that there's a need that's not being met. It's telling us that something's wrong. And when we ignore it, it creates stress. And if you look at any of the recent medical developments and knowledge and science around the human body and stress, it causes high blood pressure, it causes cardiac arrest, it causes problems with sleep, which then ends up causing adrenal failure. It causes so many physical body problems, right? But all we have to do is really stop and listen to those emotions and be like, okay, well, why am I feeling this way? What motion is that energy trying to drive me to take? And when we stop and we listen to those and we really take action from that space, from our inner compass, it allows us to bring those pieces back into our own puzzle and start putting ourselves back together so that we can find wholeness again. If you were interested, January 21st, depending on when you're listening to this, January 21st, I will be holding a free masterclass for everybody. And it is all around from goal setting to goal getting. So the focus on this is moving from, just setting the goals to really working with your unconscious mind, which is, driving 90% of your behaviors and actions every single day. Working with your unconscious mind so that you can actually achieve those goals versus sabotaging yourself and procrastinating and just giving up 3 weeks in. So in that, it's a 3-part course and it takes about 3 hours. It's January 21st and it starts at noon Central Time. And we will go through setting smarter goals first, right? We'll set those goals and I'll take you through the process. And then after that, we're going to look at the limiting beliefs that we're holding around it. We're going to look at our procrastination strategies. We're going to look at interfering parts of ourselves, those pieces that we were just talking about that we cast aside. So we're going to look at that and figure out if any of those have a conflict with our goals that we're setting and where we're feeling resistance. And then section 3, we're going to really be focusing on how to recruit our unconscious mind and ensure that those needs are met and that we feel supported from ourselves so that we have the courage to take those new actions to actually achieve our goals. So if you're interested, I'm going to drop the link in the comments or the caption below. If you have questions, feel free to send me a message or shoot me an email or comment on the video. And I look forward to hearing from y'all. All right, bye.